Hello, everyone. Welcome to Get in the Garage.
We're a music podcast.
For music lovers.
We've got another exciting episode planned for you today, but before we get into it, as always at the top of the episode, we would like to remind all of you to like and subscribe and comment and share and rate our podcast on iTunes.
And write your congressman.
Write your congressman.
Tell him about us.
Tell your congressman about Get in the Garage. I would also like to...
Dick Blumenthal? He's our senator.
I would also like to send an apology out real quick. There were some technical difficulties with the uploading of the past two episodes on the
3.
audio only. No, not the 3, just the 2.
Oh, I was wondering. Yeah, okay.
Just
I
the
was
2.
like, what's up with Spotify? It's jamming.
Yeah, and Luke's like, hey, what's going on with the last 2 episodes? And I'm like, I uploaded them, and then I looked, and it was like they were uploaded to Anchor, but they weren't published. So those are published now, so you can listen to episode 100 and 101.
Thanks a lot, Anchor.
Thanks a lot. No, that was
we
me.
love you, Anchor.
That was me. That was my fault. Anyway, as we always do, we're going to start the top of the episode off with some music news.
We're doing the theme song first?
Oh, yes. Let's do the theme song first. I'm sorry, guys.
We're going to recreate it live. Ready?
What is that?
Get in.
This is going to
the
fuck me all up in post.
garage.
Hold on. Let's start it now. There we go. Jesus.
Me and you did a fine
Did a
job.
pretty good job.
I thought it was pretty close to the original. It was good.
Both were recorded in GarageBand.
Shout out to GarageBand. Thank you, GarageBand.
GarageBand helping us get into the garage.
Since 1997.
Also, it's here, loop it again. Also,
sorry.
we are doing a Garage Rock episode today. Everything Garage Rock, all things Garage
yes.
Rock. We
Yes,
have
we are.
new Garage Rock reviews to give you and
Yeah.
all sorts of great stuff.
We're going to keep it garagey.
It'll be awesome.
In
Yep.
music news.
In music news,
What's
Luke?
on the docket?
In music news, I need the bleep again, guys.
The bleep. Oh.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Did you guys see that Guar got their own documentary?
What?
You did
A
not.
Guarcumentary?
Yeah, it came out on July 21st on the Shudder app. Shudder is, I know you're looking at me like that, it's the streaming app for like horror movies. So it's kind of like buried a little bit, but it got
Shudder.
advertised to me, and I see you guys both got very excited about it. So I think you can purchase it as well to watch. But if you're streaming it, it's on Shudder.
I wouldn't put my reaction under very excited.
Michael
say-
got
I'd say-
so excited.
Confused. Mine was a confused reaction.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if I would pay to watch a Guar documentary.
I might pay to watch a Guar documentary.
They're monsters.
I mean, but like
That's it.
they've been a successful touring
The
band
title of the documentary?
whole time.
Some kind of monster.
Think about it. Think of how many bands.
monster.
Another kind of monster.
Think about how many bands have faltered, and then they're just like more fake semen, more fake blood.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. They got their own movie. I want to know where the ideas came from, why they've been coming in space for so long. That I want to know all these things.
Why have they been coming in space for so long?
They're space monsters who
From like Jupiter or something.
ejaculate fake semen from their costumes on stage.
This is all the more reason why I have to watch the documentary.
Yeah.
I don't know the backstory. I don't know the history of Guar.
Everybody that doesn't know Guar, you should look up some Guar. They're pretty interesting and,
Yeah.
a great musical history and legacy there.
Yeah. So check it out.
Do you have anything for us? Am I the sole
I
person
have
with music
one.
news?
No,
What do you got?
I have something. Go ahead, Jeff.
Today is Wednesday, and Beyonce's new album, Renaissance, comes out this coming Friday. And her album actually leaked yesterday, possibly 2 days ago, and which is a big deal because her last couple albums have been surprise drops with non-disclosed agreements and all that stuff, and they haven't leaked. I'm not surprised that this one leaked though, because unlike her previous 2 albums, she actually put out the track list weeks ago.
I saw that.
So people were able to put their fucking bots and algorithms to search out these titles and find files wherever people find pirated stuff. And whereas previous albums, it's like nobody knew anything about it. So what can you research to try to find it? So you put out the whole track listing. I'm not surprised that all that leaked, but it is I don't know. I would say maybe unfortunate because it was cool that she had this streak of unleaked albums and event type things. But also, like, the FLAC files and all that are out there. I'm not going to look them up. I'm going to wait 2 more days and
I like to wait
listen
to
to it.
see
I
the
listen to
finished
it.
product.
Yeah.
See what the artist intended. I might go back later and look at some demos and shit and see afterwards if I'm obsessed with it. But
So if it's been leaked, so like, can you? I mean, I would imagine it's not obviously it's not available on any streaming service
No,
or
no,
anything,
no.
but it's
No, just
like maybe
all
on, like,
pirated stuff. All of
a
it.
couple YouTube videos that keep getting flagged down real fast, kind of
oh
stuff.
yeah. Did you have a chance to listen to anything?
No, purposely not going to.
Yeah. Well, good. Yes. Also, guys, I know Lars got a bad rep for the whole Napster thing, but like, you know,
I'm on Lars's side.
I'm on Lars' side. Can we make shirts that say that?
I'm on LimeWire's side.
I'm with Lars.
I'm with Lars.
I'm with LimeWire.
Delete that.
Delete that. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, yeah, because I could find the files right now. I know what kind of sites that they're on, but
Wait, the files
They're in
are
the
in the
computer.
computer.
They're on the Pirate Bay, dude.
They're on
yeah, ahoy.
Ahoy.
But yeah, I'm not gonna look them up, and
We will be giving a full album review though, so
Yeah.
stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll give a full album review. My music news. I don't know. We talked about it briefly before we started recording. But
People are mad at Bruce Springsteen, and I know people are actually mad because they play the radio at work, and they were talking about it on the radio.
were they?
Yes, they
yeah.
were.
So the news is that let's see. Let me read the headline. Ticketmaster defends Bruce Springsteen
right
ticket
there. You
prices
know you're on the
that
wrong
reached
side.
$5,000.
See, this is the whole story is that they're doing on demand pricing, right? So like if the
Yeah.
demand is high for when they drop the tickets, the prices will surge up. If there's no demand, they will surge to a normal level. Whatever you may, it's their they're kind of like these are like elite things, but like Jeff said, you're on the wrong side. Like Pearl Jam like tried to beat down Ticketmaster in the 90s. Ticketmaster's a really terrible company. Check out that John Oliver piece he did on Ticketmaster. I shouted it out on the show months ago, but it is a really great thing. Also, the Rolling Stone article on private gigs has a lot to do with this as well.
Yep.
If they don't want this is the thing. I feel like artists should just kind of do more private events where it's like this is what this is, and then have more like general public events so people don't get mad. And you can have like both ways because like this way is kind of alienating, I guess, like the working class people who Bruce Springsteen stands for in his music a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean,
Which is why this is why the rub, I think. You know what I mean? Because if it was like a pop artist, they'd be like, "This is a pop artist," but like Bruce Springsteen's like,
he's like for the people.
like kind of made his money on the. Feel what I mean?
back of the working class.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yup.
there's
Yup.
I forget which.
And now you're like having a podcast with the president, and like your tickets are
podcast.
super expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I remember listening to a Henry Rollins podcast episode, and I think I don't know if he was on a podcast or something. I mean, he might have been on Joe Rogan or something. But, to give as a reference point, I remember him talking about this idea of being like, I didn't want to, because he like be a working class guy and have my life be a Bruce Springsteen lyric. He literally said that. You know what I mean? So like to give you an idea. Yeah, Bruce Springsteen, it's, he's Jersey's own. He's the boss. He's the, he's the working class man. He's like, Bruce Springsteen to New Jersey is kind of like Bob Seger is to Detroit. He's the guy, so.
Yeah, the headline though is about the peak prices.
Yeah, and it was.
Which is like, I'm not surprised. Front row ticket at Bruce Springsteen concert is going to be a couple $1,000. Like,
Yeah, this has like kind of been
supply
going.
demand
This has
is-
been going this way for a long time.
Yeah.
It kind of.
What would you pay to see Bruce Springsteen?
I'm not a big Bruce
Most amount of money.
Springsteen fan.
Most
I
amount of
mean, I
money.
pay $50 for lawn tickets.
For real, like if I'm
Yeah,
for
yeah.
real,
Come on now.
because like
He's 72 years old. He's not going to be around
it's
much
$50
longer.
for me too. Like
Yeah.
it's $50 lawn seats. I'm not. Not.
I'll
more
bring a
interested
hippie
than
blanket
that.
and toss it on the ground
Yeah,
and
that's-
watch him
that's-
from the lawn.
I'd want to pay 75. I would pay up to $100 to see Bruce Springsteen. He does. He performs for like 2
But,
hours
like,
and 45 minutes.
Same thing with like
He does put on a long show. You get your money's worth when
Same
you
with,
go
like,
see him. That's for sure.
Paul McCartney. I love Paul McCartney, but like for my like brain's worth, I'm not gonna pay more than $100 because it's just like
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, $100 is my peak for like those legacy bands.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's like
well,
Right.
maybe
Paul-
I'll see them once ever.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I spent $100 to see Paul Simon in like a smaller venue, and that was like the price point for me. I was
Yeah.
like, that's what I would spend for this.
Didn't you go see Brian Wilson recently?
I did. Those were free comp tickets though.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say like how much were those? How much when you went to go see the Stones a couple years back? How much did you pay for the Stones tickets?
I bought those resale.
Like
Those
60
weren't bad.
bucks?
That's exactly. They were
Yeah.
$65.
But see, from what I
resale.
read on this article, that's what they're trying to like. So Ticketmaster's trying to get
Yeah.
around like the
SeatGeek
resale and
and-
the right,
Yeah.
yeah, and all that stuff. So I mean, I guess I get it, but I like you said, I think it really is sort of alienating the working class folks who like just want to go and have a good night and go see
Well,
Bruce Springsteen.
They'll go see their local, cover band play all the Bruce Springsteen material, and they'll
Yeah.
feel just as happy. I'm sure. Like, no, it's not like
Set
that's
out your
kind.
speakers on your lawn.
that
sit in your
kinda what
pool
it
and
is,
play
man.
the
Yeah.
records.
Yeah, true.
I got like Joni Mitchell's back. Joni Mitchell had a brain aneurysm in I believe 2015, and they were like no one really thought she was ever going to be able to sing or play again, and she made an appearance at the Newport Folk Festival
Yep.
on Sunday where she came out and sang and played guitar. And it was like a major comeback for the artist, and I'm gonna probably say just for like people that have ever had a struggle in their life that of like a medical struggle, and she like kind of faced that down and really came out in a big way, and it was
Yeah.
like really a lot of people were really happy to see her.
Sang with Brandy Carlisle and
Yeah, and
very cool.
Played
Yeah.
that cool Parker guitar. You see her holding that
yeah,
thing?
She sounds good.
the
man.
CKY guitar.
Yeah, man, it's a dope
She-
guitar.
Beautiful voice.
Yeah,
So that was really cool,
I
and a legacy venue, a legacy festival that we talked about a couple episodes, episode 100,
Yeah.
the Newport Folk Festival. So very fitting, and she's the queen of that. So
She was literally sitting on a throne
yeah, because
Yeah.
she's the queen of folk music.
I mean, yeah,
Like who gets
with
more?
with a beret on.
yeah, she's
and like
wearing the
and
beret.
like the long double braids.
Yeah.
Joan Baez cries enviously
best.
from the sides of the stage. She's like, "Why am I
No
not a better
respect.
writer?"
Yeah, well,
No respect.
Yeah, I saw an interview with her when she was talking about it, and they were asking her about, how she relearned the songs and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, I just like watched old videos of myself on YouTube on the net." She said, "I watched videos of myself on the net, and I was watching what my hands were doing, and then I just relearned my songs."
Said every person who ever learned how to play drop D guitar. I just watched their hands.
Yeah, well, but good for her. We're happy. Also, this week in Neil Young news, Neil Young announced that he is not quite ready to start touring again. So
We're
that-
not quite ready to see him.
How much you pay to see Neil Young?
$25.
See, I'm gonna.
No, that's how much you'd have to pay me.
$100 to
Yeah, you have to pay me.
I think I'd pay like $100 to go see
Just
Neil
go.
Young.
Listen, all you have to do is just find out whereabouts he is, and just go fishing on that fucking lake that he's. I'm sorry. His studio, that lake that he mixes his albums on. Catch a couple of striped bass, and and listen to the same old Neil Young album remixed.
Just
Oh,
in some
man.
other real fast here, the band Off with Keith Morris of the Circle Jerks is making a new album for the first time since 2014, and they are also going to star in a new movie called Free LSD. It's like a comedy movie which features the band heavily, so that should be fun and interesting. A lot of bands making movies. Have another movie here coming
Sounds
out.
like a nightmare.
You ready? Oh, that movie does sound like a nightmare.
A bunch of like 60-year-old punk guys.
It
Interesting.
could go anyway. We'll find out. The David Bowie movie, Moonlight Daydream, featuring archival footage of David Bowie, released a teaser trailer. I don't believe there's any dates for that yet, but it has shown at I believe, some film festivals. So check out that teaser trailer. It's really cool. It has like Bowie's like voice in it, and then all footage you've never seen before. And something I hope we're going to cover on the show. Another movie. This is the last movie I'm going to talk about today. I know there's a lot of movies, but Woodstock '99 documentary coming out August 3rd on Netflix.
A 3-part series.
Another. Oh, interesting.
So
Yeah.
we will. I think what my plan to do is I think me and Mike are gonna obsess about Woodstock '99, and I think we are gonna make the podcast for all podcasts on Woodstock '99. I think we're just gonna do me and Mike go hard on it.
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I think we're gonna go over every band, every set, everything. We're gonna prepare.
Get ready.
Buck Cherry.
Keep rolling.
The last song played at Woodstock '99, Megadeth's "Peace Sells, but Who's Buying?"
Oh yeah.
So timely.
Yeah. Well. Oh, speaking of which, Megadeth, their new album's coming out pretty soon. They released the single, and I saw a snippet of Kirk Hammett
I thought the album
reacting
came out.
to it. No, the album is due out. I think September 6th is the release date. But it's I can't remember the name of the track, but it's pretty cool. I listened to it, and I saw a little snippet of a video of Kirk Hammett listening to it, like a reaction video, and I mean, from what I saw, it seemed to me like the light was leaving Kirk Hammett's eyes because he's like, shit, they still got it. Meet the real me. Anyway, so there you have it. Music news. Are you guys good with music news? Shall we
I'm good
move
with
on?
Music news.
All right, Luca. Why don't you tell us about our first new album review? Because this is your boy right here.
Yeah. So this is this is Ty Segall. Ty Segall's California boy. He's like the king of the modern garage rock in a lot of senses. He's very prolific, releases multiple albums. He's really he's quite slowed down the past couple years, where he's kind of doing like only one or two, where he used to do like 3 or 4 a year. His new album we're going to be talking about today is Hello High, produced by him, plays most of the instruments on this record. We have Charles Moonhart on drums on a couple tracks, and Michael Cronin, who plays saxophone on a track as well. These are, if you're familiar with Ty Segall, those names are very familiar in his stable. They play in his live band and have been with him for years. But this is a mostly Ty Segall solo event, like most of his albums really are for the past kind of like 7 years. Actually, probably like 10 more, like 10 years now. So
Yeah, this is his 14th studio album.
So I've been told.
Yeah.
That's what they say. There's I made the Ty Segall record wall, which you can check on the Get in the Garage Instagram page, and that was 24 records that I just owned personally, and I know I'm missing a couple. So there's a lot of
EPs and comps and stuff.
Yeah, and singles collections, live albums, all that great stuff.
Incredibly prolific, man.
Covers albums.
Yeah. Also, the band that he was in was the band Fuzz.
Yes, he
which
also
is,
plays in the band Fuzz, which is a heavy metal trio.
Which was my sort of introduction to Ty Segall. But yeah, let's get into the album. I can just say like I'm not as well versed in Ty, with his music, say as much as you or even my wife for that matter. Jade loves Ty Segall. She's a huge Ty Segall fan. But Harmonizer was the last record that came out before this one. This is a little bit of a different kind of a vibe.
Harmonizer
for
came
Segall.
out last August, and that was a kind of like sludge electronic-y guitar record.
Yeah.
Still hung in the garage rock kind of genre. But this record seems to be a very acoustic affair, very lighthearted and like kind of carefree. I found it to be, it was just really like it was really acoustic-y for him, because he's usually heavy on the electric and fuzz and layered guitars and all that. This album reminds me of another record of his, I think from 2013, called Sleeper, which was also largely acoustic.
Yep, 2013 Sleeper, yeah.
Well, I'm good on that one, see? And it's that album reminds me of this album a lot. The other album, Sleeper, a little more heavy with like the subject matter, where this one seems a little bit more like light and playful. And I'll give you the example of like what I think is the centerpiece of the album, the song Saturday, part 1 and 2, where the first part is done acoustically, and then the second part is kind of like a rave up electrified version of that, with a wonderful saxophone solo at the end. That was that song. And I believe like those are the kind of the centerpiece of the album, and it really like plays along like the lazy Saturday vibe, and it works well on the acoustic song, and it works well on like the more like electrified stonery version of it. And that's the Saturday lazy vibe is the complete vibe of the whole record for me. That's why it also works as the centerpiece. It's also split into 2 tracks, and it'd be probably like 7 minutes long if you played it all together.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the record. I thought it was fun. There was moments, I called Jeff earlier today too, and I was like, am I off the mark in thinking that this sounds a little bit like Radiohead in the vocal sense? Maybe not necessarily in the instrumental sense, but in the vocal sense.
Oh, see, for me, he always sings with that he sings in an English accent. Like he's doing it right now that we're listening to.
Yeah.
On the song Saturday, you really hear it. He's always kind of sings in like an affected,
Mark Bolan,
yeah,
T-Rex type
T-Rex
of thing.
British accent.
Right. Oh, that's where it is.
Right.
It's the Mark Bolan
And
thing.
Radiohead
And I'm
and
not
Radiohead.
the first person to point this out either. That's like Pitchfork like called him out early on it, like way like 10 years ago. They're like, you're singing a British accent, which is pretty fascinating and it's
Yeah.
cool. There's a lot of that really high
Yeah.
high falsettoed
3-part harmonies.
harmony.
Yeah.
Also the album is bookended by Good Morning and Good Night, that 3-part harmony of like good morning. If you ever heard the Who's Sell Out, it sounds like the beginning of that. But and so it's like very 60s, very like Beatlesy, like good morning, and then at the end of the record it's good night and all that good cool stuff like done in the harmony style.
Yeah.
And again, that brought out like the more like lightheartedness, the acousticness, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you pick
Yeah.
up this record on the shelf, and it's like an impish guy crouched on a tree limb holding an acoustic guitar. That's what you're getting on this record, okay? It's a guy playing acoustic guitar, him doing 3-4-part harmonies with himself.
Yeah.
There's some other sparse instrumentation.
A great la la la's over
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But it's very simple is not the right word, but like stripped down.
Yeah, it's like garage rocky Neil Young, a little bit. It's not so much like it's in the acoustic sense where like where Neil Young isn't afraid to put like a heavy backbeat on an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
Like some of that's got like a lot of that on here. He doesn't sing like Neil Young at all.
No.
You know what I mean?
And the Radiohead comp it does make sense to me because music-wise, it reminds me of Radiohead's most recent album, Moon-Shaped Pool, which is that like dreamier, more subdued texture stuff, kind of wispy sounding, and yeah.
All the songs.
Not all what I expect. I mean, looking at the album, I should have expected it, but when you said let's review Ty Segall, I was not thinking that it was going to be like this.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be
a heavy guitar
7
record.
types of fuzz and
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to point out, the song "Don't Lie" on here is a cover of the band The Mantles tune. So just he throws in like every once in a while there's like an obscure cover on this on his albums, and this is one of them. So that I just wanted to throw that out there that that was the only song he didn't write, and you can kind of tell that it wasn't because it has like a the riff on the guitar is very not tight. It's very like not really Ty Segall-y.
Yeah.
It pointed out to me. I was like, "Ooh, I like this a lot. This is different." And I was like, "Oh, it's a cover." But
Did Pitchfork review this one?
they did.
What did they give it?
They gave this I think they gave it a 7.2 or something like that. It was hovering around the 7.
So what do you rate it, Luca? I
Um,
mean, being that you're the
I'm a big Ty Segall fan.
what would you call a Ty Segall fan?
he just calls them seagulls.
Oh, seagulls.
I think his magnum opus is still Manipulator.
Yeah.
That's from 4 years ago or something.
That's
think
the
that's-
red and white cover, right?
Yeah, I think that's 2015 or 14, something like
for
that. I think his magnum opus is Manipulator.
2014.
I think this is an unpretentious album. I don't think it's trying to be what it's not. It's not trying to be his magnum opus. The length of this album too, 34 minutes or 30 minutes, is like a great fast listen. I'm gonna give it a 7. I think it's a great record. If you like this style of music, none of the songs are crafted badly, but it's just not like the whoa, you know what I mean?
Well, it's not that white hot like
Even even to like the
which is my cup of tea.
for like acoustic music, it's not like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just
It's not full bodied.
it's just like a it's a great release and it's fun, but
Yeah.
It's a 7 release for me. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at on it.
I'll meet you there.
Check it out, and it's a great modern rock release. If you are a person that likes rock music and you're like can never find any good new rock stuff to listen to.
acoustic style rock
Yeah,
music.
like Ty Segall is where it's at, and even the song "Hello Hi" on here is like the fuzzier song on here.
Yeah, he does give you
Yeah, he like still sprinkles
a
it in
kiss
there
of the
with
fuzz.
that one song. It's not all acoustic, but that I mean it mostly is. For,
Yeah.
you know, so that's where I'm at on it.
Okay, I'll meet you at 7. Jeff, what are you rating?
7s across the board.
Okay,
Yeah,
right on.
because it's there's good stuff about it. I like a lot of the harmonies. I detract a little bit because it never goes fully very different. It's kind of the same palette on every song.
Yeah.
And melody wise, it's I kind of got a lot of them get lost in the shuffle because I'm like,
Strongly
wait, this
agree.
song sounds
Kind of like
80% like the last song.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a 7. It's good,
Yeah.
solid. And
Also-
and acoustic, like I don't listen to like acoustic guitar focused albums really ever.
Yeah.
And it's well done for that. Like if you're into folkish type of stuff, like it's good.
Yeah. Also worth mentioning, he's got a great rig rundown.
Oh, I did watch.
On
That's
YouTube?
why I was expecting something so
yeah,
different.
Yeah, because he shows you the what
50
guitars does he
fuzz
play?
pedals and stuff.
What are those guitars?
I don't know.
They're like those metal neck guitars. Starts with the last name starts with a T. It was
Dan-
like
Not the Dan Armstrong. I know what you're
No.
talking about, though.
yeah, but it's definitely worth checking out. It's pretty cool. He gives the full rig rundown, and he also shows the acoustic guitar, which is featured on this album cover as well. And do you have it, Luca?
Is it that?
Godin
Radom?
No, it's not
No.
it's not a Godin, but yeah, Godin. Yeah, you have to say it right. Godin. But yeah, definitely worth watching the rig rundown. Check it out; it's cool. And his it's an artistic choice, I suppose. But his acoustic guitar as well. He never put a pickup in it. He only just mics it.
Yeah.
Which gives kind of a more pure, I would say, or
Better.
honest sound of the, better.
I don't
better
like the
sound.
mic
If you're a dude
acoustic
who,
sound.
if you're a dude
You don't like
who
the
has to-
mic'd acoustic sound, or you don't like the acoustic with a pickup in it sound?
No, I don't like the DI the DI.
Yeah, no, right.
That is my least favorite.
Yeah,
when you
and that's what
DI
he
an
doesn't.
acoustic.
Yeah, he doesn't do that. It's a purely acoustic guitar, and then he just puts a microphone in front of the sound hole.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about when they come with they straight like have a mic cord in them.
Yeah,
hate
yeah.
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do if you're gigging around
If you're
playing
Easy
Journey
gig.
at fucking bars and
Easy
stuff.
to
But
gig.
yeah, just
but it
small
sounds
town.
like dog shit, man.
no,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
more
a weird sound. It
I'm more
sounds like it
It
sounds
sounds
like
automatically chorused.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird.
I like
and
Paul
thin.
Simon, like a Paul Simon guitar, like what's that video? Monterey Pop Festival.
Yeah.
That's a good acoustic guitar mic.
Or I like
Yeah.
the Willie Nelson acoustic guitar mic sound.
Oh, yeah.
because he has the
That's where
piezo
it's at.
pickups. Those are a little bit different. That's not
Different
like
response.
it's a different type of response. Anyway, we digress.
We're gonna have we're gonna talk about the 2 new Jack White albums that were released this year. One back in April,
Yes.
and the one that was released last week.
The
And-
jack off, if you will.
Yes, it's a jack off. We're gonna so let's take a quick break and we'll come back with the Get in the Garage jack off. We'll be right back.
Get your peppermint strips.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Get in the Garage.
We're the music podcast.
For music lovers.
We've got 2 new-ish, one new, one semi-new albums from the Undead Furniture Maker himself, Mr. Jack White, and this segment we're going to call The Jack Off.
the undead furniture.
The Undead Furniture Maker,
Jack Skellington.
Jack Skellington, a.k.a.
the ghoul of fuzz guitar.
They need to make him his own fuzz pedal just called the Ghoul. So Fear of the Dawn was the first record that came out in April of this year. So we'll cover that first, and then we will go on to the album that just dropped recently. Thoughts, guys? I mean, what do you think about this record? I mean, I've had conversations. We've all had conversations with each other separately about what we think about this record. It seems sort of like between this record and the latest one, which is, Luca, can you just rattle off the title?
Entering Heaven Alive.
Entering Heaven Alive. It seems like he's trying to very much do this yin yang thing where he's got the loud album released first and then the soft album released second. Not an entirely original idea. A notable band, and of course I have to mention them on every podcast as often as I can. Opeth did this with 2 albums called Damnation and Deliverance.
People have been doing this forever, though. You have the
but
the
yeah.
heavy side, the light side on albums as far back as like the 60s.
Yeah, because this first one, Fear of the Dawn, is very...
Even Dylan
Hard
did it
rock.
on Bringing It All Back Home. He's got the acoustic
Right.
side and the band side.
Yeah,
this is
right.
very modern sounds, fuzz pedals, octave pedals, rockin' drums,
Right.
squealing lead vocals, triple tracked lead vocals.
Yeah.
It sounds very current and very
Experimental.
experimental, and there's some like strange carnival-esque flourishes. Just like the type of melodies he chooses, the type of feels. He pretty much plays 95% of everything on this album, and similar to the second album, he plays most of the instruments on that as well. So it's kind of like a one-man project with some collaborators on a couple of different instruments on a couple of different tracks, but I don't know, it's like pretty full throttle rock and roll, and the shit is smashing. The drums are hot and the guitars are searing, and he's doing his, I don't love Jack White, but he's doing that screamy, singy thing that he does, that wail, and I think it's well done.
Like the singles were good. Like Taking Me Back was good. Like I like that. It was a heavy, like modern.
Taking me back.
Taking me back.
Taking me back.
It's a good modern rock song.
Yeah.
I felt and it sounded new and hip and cool. Also shout out to like the millionth time Jack White has sung about coffee in his lyric. How are you taking your coffee? Are you taking it black? Are you taking me back? So I just wanted to shout that out. And I liked like the stuff that was heavier on here. I did like the Fear of the Dawn, heavy, like that. White Raven was like kind of heavier. I liked that. Where I think we all start to like waver with this album is where it does kind of get into like where Jack White experiments in his heavier side. I think we're all in agree like, yup, go heavier. That you're sounding good the heavier the music's coming out. The more experimental and jazzy and rappy and reggae and hip hoppy he's going. I feel like those are the points in the album where he's faltering and he's not stepping assured in making a solid song.
And specifically, we're talking about one track in particular.
Oh, I have a couple on this album that
let's roll our sleeves
all fit what I just said.
Well, let's start with the first, most obvious
The main
one.
culprit would be Heidi Ho.
Hi-ho.
Featuring one of, I think, all of our favorite artists, Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
So these are two artists that we both like. But together, they sample a Cab Calloway song and what I would describe as
two-word review.
Shit sandwich.
They can't print that.
Heidi Ho.
Can't print that.
The idea of the song is, for me, seems to literally be the phrase Heidi Ho. They're like, what are the lyrics
and
about?
Sometimes it's Heidi Hody, Heidi, Heidi Ho.
It's like there's no lyrical content above the name of the song, and for me that's the biggest issue. It just loops on nonsense. It's fun. It's fun if you
swimming in a sea of I can't say
it's
that.
fun if this was a one-off single and you release this for like a kind of like a piss take kind of song. It could have had like a radio clash like style to it. Because it was like the dum dum dum, like the beat was not the worst thing I've ever heard. But Q-Tip's feature on it too is some of the most wackest shit. You're right, the most wackest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Hip hop, hippie to the hip. Might as well have done that.
If he did that, it would have been fucking better than what he did.
Yeah, it's such
the
a
Mariah
waste,
Carey,
such
Chuck.
a good song.
He rhymes Mariah Carey, Chuck Berry. It's fucking lazy.
I mean, it rhymes.
It's lazy.
All right. You said that some other tracks stuck out to you as being lacking. I think one of the songs you might bring up, Yesophobia.
Yep.
I actually liked that. I liked his like Latin-y, Santana-ish type of.
See, for me,
because I was like, oh shit, I wish Jack White did more of this stuff. Where it's kind of like,
for me, that
cool.
song wasn't the reggae part of it wasn't my favorite. The rest of it was more of my favorite, but sandwiched between the songs it's sandwiched between Heidi Ho and into
again
and
sandwich.
And Into the Twilight. So when you have like the three of them, like the three kind of like experimental songs in a row,
some experiments go bad.
Yeah, and it feels like
fail.
It's a fine line between
he
genius and
sequenced
stupid.
it like the three. It's like heavy, and then it gets like jazzy rap,
Yeah.
and then it
Yeah.
gets like reggae, and then the song, that song it's weird. For me it almost worked. Like the reggae part of it like almost works for me,
Yeah.
but didn't work enough. But that Into the Twilight song after, for me, is almost worse than the Heidi Ho song because there is literally the definition of filler for me, and to the point where I kind of knew this was a filler track. Both of these albums are how long?
40 minutes.
Exactly. One of them's 40 minutes.
One's
and
12 seconds longer than the other, I think.
Exactly. One's it's 10. The other one's 40-10. So for me to feel like this is not filler is hard for me because the only lyric to it is "Into the Twilight" that a woman sings, and maybe he sings the high harmony on,
Yeah.
and it's just like a groove riff.
Yeah.
There's no good guitar solo on it. So for me, like this is me nitpicking, but like I really like the heavier songs, and where it just gets weird for me. And like lyrically, you're not saying anything to me. Not saying anything. So that's the other issue I have with that. And then it picks up like the last 3 songs on the record. They were like, heavier, or not really heavier, but just like more like
Solid.
more solid, more like assured of themselves.
Yeah.
And for me, it just gets lost in the sauce in the middle.
Yeah, you had said to me when because I had called Luke yesterday and I was talking to him about it, and I'm like, I listened to this album at least like 4 or 5 times because I'm like, do I like this record? I couldn't figure out if I liked it, and it was very frustrating because upon the first listen I A-B'd it, right? I listened to it. Well, when it first came out, I gave it a quick run through, but then I never really revisited it until we decided we were going to do the Jack Off, and then I listened to the recent album, and then I like A-B'd them, you know what I mean? I went from one to the other. Initially, I liked this record more than the latest release, but upon listening to this record more, my opinions kind of flipped on me because it's as probably like no surprise. I'm a heavy guy. I like the heavy music. I like the fuzz. I love the rockin' songs and all that kind of stuff. That's why up front I kind of favored this record. But then when I kept listening to it, it was just it's like you had said. It's like it's kind of hard because it almost feels like this album has no soul, or at the very least, it's like.
It's searching.
It is searching, and you know what? Listen, ultimately, credit where credit is due. Jack White is a guy who kind of like, granted, with the White Stripes kind of founding the garage rock revival thing. Shout out to that episode too. We did a garage rock revival episode. Check that out. I'll try to link that. But he's the reason why I've heard of Son House. I mean, he's probably the only reason why I ever watched that It Might Get Loud documentary. But. You know what I'm saying?
I watched that for the edge.
Yeah.
You would.
That's not blues music.
He's like, I just
Can't play blues music with 3 delay pedals.
But you know what I'm saying though, because and all credit to Jack White, man. He started
really
Third Man Records. He's done a lot for music and for the resurgence of vinyl records.
And to say this too, he's a contemporary rock artist that makes challenging records. He's still pushing the envelope on his music, and he's not stagnated.
Right.
There are so many stagnated bands. I'm gonna throw one we talked about, their album last fall, even to say like My Morning Jacket's last record I felt was like a My Morning Jacket record. And for me, Jack White's at least like challenging me to be like, this is a new Jack White record.
Right.
And whether I like it or not, I respect it on many levels. So
and to speak to that too, another band that the White Stripes were constantly compared to, a band, the Black Keys, right? You look at the Black Keys' latest release. We've talked about it. We talked about it a few episodes ago. It's a Black Keys record. Like, in other words, Jack White could have done like a lazy thing and just released just kind of like, oh, Jack White does like electrified, quirky blues songs if he wanted to, and he could have got away with it, and people probably would have received it fairly well, and it would have been like, oh yeah, there's Jack White doing a bluesy, electric, kind of interesting Jack White thing, but he didn't do that. So that's why maybe if
You don't think so?
What's that?
I think both these albums are so in line with the way he does.
They
didn't seem like strange to me.
See,
no, but I think
for me, he could have like I'm talking like he could have just like went and made like a
Bullshit. Yeah, yeah.
garage
Right.
a safe Jack White record,
Right.
and this isn't a safe Jack White record. It's
No.
a fucking it's
It's in
weird,
line- yeah.
it's a weird fucking record. It
Yeah,
is
and
out
it's
there.
in line with. That's why we were talking earlier, remember? And I was like, this is simultaneously like one of the most Jack White records I've ever listened to, but like not really Jack White-ish to me, because it's like
It
he
has
does
all
he
his,
hits.
It has all his clothes on it, but he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he put his clothes on like different mannequins.
Yeah,
kinda.
and it's certain tracks, maybe he didn't necessarily hit the mark. However, it was a challenge. It was a palette challenging album, at least for me. And in that sense, I think that it was successful. You know what I mean? There were some challenges.
Are we gonna save the ratings till we talk about the last one?
Yeah,
or-
Do you want to?
I mean, I think we can give them now.
All right,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
show-
I
show
like
our
I like
hands.
this album. I would say my ultimate view on it is, I like compared to Blunderbuss and Lazaretto and all the other ones. It's so much, and the White Stripes. It's like what I know, what I kind of expect from him, but also he gets interesting sounds. Like some of the tones of guitars and the structures of songs get kind of strange. And he goes balls out, and I wouldn't say big swings like stylistically, but big swings like he is putting his energy into his music. Like he doesn't. Yes, he's on like an Apple Watch commercial, like one of his old songs is featured on that, but he's not a dude who cares about like, can I make something that sells records? Because he's like, if people like it, they'll buy it. If not, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I'll give my rating
Okay.
solid 7. Because I thought it was good, and what I'll really go back to, and the 3 tracks I'll skip.
Yeah. I'll go 6.8. 6.8.
5.
5. Oof. Luca. What did Pitchfork did review this? What did they give it?
6.5 probably,
Was it-
or something.
yeah,
like that.
I think
I
something
think
like
they gave
that.
it a 4.5.
No. Was
Oh
it?
no,
It's Jack
they
White,
they
6.5 or something.
they 4.5 the one that was two albums ago, the one that I can't remember the name of.
Yeah, it's like a 3-word title. Trading post something. I don't know.
I'll get it for
Something
you right
like
now.
that. It has a picture of kind of his face, but kind of looks like a woman's face.
That's exactly right. That album is called
House.
Boarding House Reach.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I think they
Which out of all of his soul albums, that's the one that has the least memorable stuff. to me.
6.5 is what Pitchfork gave this record.
I'm gonna give it a 5.
Yeah. All right. Well,
That's where I'm
so
at.
onward then, because
I feel you.
this past Friday he released "Entering Heaven Alive," which was the
Old timey kind of acoustic brother to that first one.
And I enjoyed this record. Up front, I wasn't huge on it, but upon further listens, this one kind of grew on me.
To be noted, the first song on the
first one,
yes, is
Yep.
the last song on this record.
Yeah.
He gives it to
An
you
acoustic-y
2 ways.
type of version.
Yeah.
Yes. So
or
just
more
wanted-
like a kind of like a Paris jazz version of it.
yes, really what it is.
Yeah.
Like a
So
Django Reinhardt.
so let's get into this one. What did we think? I did tell Jeff, and I think I told you too, Luke. It's like when I listened to this record, it reminded me of like if there were like if this sounds like it's the soundtrack to a movie about like 2 carnies in the 1920s falling in love.
You need a spittoon when you're listening to this record.
But I dug it though. I was
After a
into it.
long day of cutting wheat.
Yeah. We're gonna go down to the freak show and
Yeah, I liked this record. It reminded me of some of that at the time, the White Stripes, because the White Stripes were like garage rock, electric guitar, fuzz, octave pedals with just like boom, boom, boom drums, and then like Icky Thump and Distill, they did all these kind of old timey type of palettes and sonic explorations of kind of like Tin Pan Alley type stuff and vaudeville styles. And this is much more like that. This has like, glockenspiel and marimba and acoustic guitar and accordion and piano.
And he loves that sort
upright
of
bass and stuff.
that kind of like parlor,
Yeah,
like
honky tonky
kind of piano thing in there.
Prepared piano.
A prepared piano.
Prepared piano. It's
Yes.
where you like alter the strings or hammers to make it sound different.
You dampen it. That's like
Yeah.
a lot of that sound is.
Yeah.
You
But he
put-
loves that
You can put like
sound. That's-
marbles on the strings so that when you hit it, it like kind of rattles.
Yeah. But he peppers that in. That's
Yeah.
like one of his favorite
It
go-to
remind
sounds.
me of some of the not as like gruff and like a sailor type of Tom Waits stuff, but it's in that vein of like trying to recreate the not folk like Bob Dylan folk music, but like the Americana like folk music of the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
Of the Depression era, because
Yeah.
all the instrumentation and the song structures are much more in line with that kind of like European inflected jazz and
Yeah, this is like the gypsy
like this.
violin sort of
Exactly.
influence stuff, and that
right Stefan Grappelli and that kind of stuff.
yeah, I would say the only thing where I just didn't, it felt like the only, if I'm giving it a criticism, I felt like maybe some of the string arrangements that were kind of woven in sounded a little bit like he was trying too hard. Maybe that's just me, but I was like,
I see. I liked the more stringy he went, the more I
Yeah.
liked it. Like, because it was just like a step out of like the
norm.
norm.
yeah, I just felt like he was putting me on almost. I don't know.
Step right up, mister.
Yeah, like
Let me
he's
guess your weight.
the snake oil salesman.
See,
I got the cure-all.
Yeah, so clear up
For
your mumps in
me-
no time.
a lot of this sounded like a tune off of Get Behind Me Satan called Ugly as I Seem. And it sounds, a lot of this record sounds like that song.
Yeah.
Again, like some of the melodies are kind of like ones we've kind of heard from Jack White before, but they're not done bad. Like you said, it's kind of all that thing for me. Again, where the album doesn't work as well, is "Got You Surrounded." I think is the name of that song on here. That's like more jazzy. With me, the jazzier he gets, the one is where I like kind of lose him. But where I think
I've got you surrounded. I like
Yeah.
that song.
see, that's where it didn't work for me on this record. And the other song that I also did not, I love instrumentally, but I did not enjoy lyrically, was "A Madman from
that's it.
Manhattan."
Those are my two favorite songs on the record.
Oh my god! So this, I'll tell you why I don't like it, and then Jeff will
Yeah.
tell you why he does. For me, it sounds like bad slam poetry. Again, it's not anything personal for what I feel is coming from Jack White. It just sounds like a story he's kind of making up, and it doesn't really captivate me in the way that like Paul McCartney does that. In like in his songwriting, it doesn't really work for me in that way of like a story about somebody like Eleanor Rigby or somebody like where I buy in instantly. This one, I'm just like, it feels like you're putting me on because this feels like slam poetry. And for the whole record, the beginning of the record to really feel like kind of like tender and like loving, and he has like these like fun like the crumbs song where he's like talking about like we're gonna walk each other home and we're not dumb, we'll leave crumbs, like that kind of stuff. For me, I like that because it works for me. It seems like him genuinely like wanting to write like that, and that feels like right for me. And then when he's like doing like cat in Manhattan was walking down the block, took a train with a letter on it, and you're just like, what?
Indian scattered
On highway bleeding.
That's exactly like, and I'm just
Yeah.
where it gets to that point, I'm just like, I like him where he's like, more like silly, like making the cough, like that kind of stuff. And for me, where it works in this album is you could tell he fell in love and got married recently.
Yeah.
And all those songs where he's like talking about love and reflection, and those all are like, yep.
Yeah.
They work for me. I believe you 100%. And then when they get jazzy, I feel like you're kind of giving me a put on.
Yeah.
Because lyrically, they move out of that space where it doesn't seem to be singing so tenderly or like singing so like poignantly about something or somebody. And for me, that's kind of where it's at. But I did like this record on a whole so much more than the first
The
record
first
that I
release,
this
yeah.
year.
Luke's gonna give it a 5.2.
Can I say
I
something?
think that was probably the harshest review I gave, but
Yeah.
It's honest,
but it is honest. And
Yeah.
I feel like I know he is a great artist, capable of great things and of classic 10 out of 10 albums. I've heard
Yeah.
them. I've listened to them. They've made them. So that's why I like, I just,
Yeah.
I'll be critical on it. But I did like that, All Along, that song. And, there was good stuff on here.
I'll say one thing that did really impress me with this record too is that because Jack White is sort of like the guy who does all those crazy stacked fuzzes and like octave blown out, hot, coming in, all that stuff. One thing that I did really enjoy about this record that I thought was really refreshing was just listening to him with an acoustic guitar, and really his real impressive finger picking style was really, for me, I was like, oh shit, like he can play a nice acoustic guitar, man. There was some stuff that he was doing on these songs that I was
Beatlesy?
like Beatlesy,
Especially with like the glockenspiel in the back sometimes.
Yeah, and even the finger picking style stuff, maybe a little Neil Young reminiscent, or maybe like a little James Taylor reminiscent. It's not that wholesome-y like thing that James Taylor does, but it very much that sort of like, that the technique, I think his finger picking technique style was really, for me, quite surprising and really enjoyable.
I agree with you, and like on that song, like "Help Me Along" too. Like, I was like, oh, this is like a kind of like a better done version of like when John Mayer went Neil Young.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Born and Raised, like
sure,
those albums. Like for me, like the acoustic songs on here where he's doing that, those I'm like, this is what I wanted from John Mayer, man. Like where he's like doing that kind of thing, like because it has its own flavor in it. And
that's an interesting comparison, though, because this
That's
is
what I
sort of
thought.
like, this is kind of like the dark parallel universe version of Born and Raised. It's like
this
that kind
also
of
parallels Ty Segall's "Hello High." This sounds just like that.
yeah,
record,
right. Well,
too.
that was another thing that I noticed too, because I was listening to all three of these albums, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of like a nice companion piece for the two. I think that
this
they
record
complement each
sits
other.
in that sonic zone for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Until it kind of like gets off.
Yeah, this one definitely takes a little bit more risk, I think, in terms of
Absolutely.
stylistic risk and all that. I think Ty Segall's record was maybe a little bit more safe, if you want to call it that.
Absolutely was.
But yeah, all in all, so what's your rating?
I think when we listen to these records, so like a lot of times in our reviews, you bring up lyrical content and stuff like that. I think in general, I would say you guys listen to this stuff a lot more in the week leading up, because unless I'm like obsessed and love the record, I give it 2 hard top to bottom listens, and like I don't even really pay attention to words until the 5th time I listen to something.
Yeah.
So I kind of like get a gist of whatever. But as far as like my thoughts on this record and a lot of records are like, do I enjoy the world I'm in for that 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Are there periods where I go, ugh, or I go, oh, this is surprising. That's like how I generally rate these things. But so I liked this kind of old timey, the furniture maker with the stove, whatever they call it, corncob pipe and suspenders. I enjoyed this a little bit more than the earlier album. Yeah, because I enjoyed being in this 40 minutes more than the previous one.
That's a good way of putting it, because I would agree with that too. Yeah.
So the more I listen to it, more I'll have like nuanced things on lyrics and subject matter and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, well, can I give one criticism? I know we already covered the first album, but there's one line, I think it's is it in the last track or the second to last track, where he's like, it's better to like illuminate than it is to, what's that line? But it was so, I'm just like, Neil Young already said it's better to burn out than to fade away. And I'm like, it was totally that kind of a vibe. He's like, it's better to illuminate than like burn out or something like that.
Only so many words in the English language.
I guess so. But that was, I mean, if of a criticism, I just want to bring that up because I forgot to bring it up when we were talking about the Fear the Dawn record. But
I'm giving this a 7.5.
Ooh, a 7.5. All right. I'll go solid 7. But that's just because I'm just like, I love the White Stripes so much, and those records were just so like important to me that like this record for me, it's like I'll just go back and listen to the White Stripes do stuff that's more in this vein than this record itself.
I like this record, but I'm gonna give it a 6.5. But if you're again this is a solid listen.
Yeah.
Just for me,
Yeah.
Just that's where I'm at with
my gauge now, just so you know, is like I gave Journey's new record a 7, so now I judge everything against that.
Against that.
That's the benchmark now.
Yeah.
I think I also gave that. I think I rated.
Now that you said, that's a.
I rated that Journey record
Listen,
higher than both of these.
No
but
regrets.
I stand by that.
Don't
No
stop.
regrets.
Listen,
For
Luke,
that Journey record, it was a solid Journey record.
don't stop believing.
Solid 7.
Solid
I
7.
never will.
More of a Scranton 7. All right, cool. Let me see what we're working on time here because we did want to. All right, well,
Quick shout out.
We got
Let's do a quick
we got
shout out.
we got a few minutes just to.
So since we're talking about artists that dwell in the garage rock world, we want to just kind of throw out some of our favorite garage rock records for you to check out as album recommendations. We don't have to get too into it. You can give a little brief thing if you want. I can start if you guys want. We are talking about 5. So like with everything in music, especially when you're talking about putting things under a category, people get so like, yeah, but it's not this, so it can't be this type of music. It's like, whatever. If for me, garage rock is it rock music, and does it sound like the band could have recorded this album in a garage? I go like literal definition.
Yeah.
So my 5, in just chronological order, from 1969, MC5's "Kick Out the Jams," a live album, Detroit, recorded over Halloween weekend. Seminal classic, maybe the first official garage rock record, or like the first, the big totem. My number 2, the same year, 1969, the first record by the Stooges, the self-titled Stooges record. My 3rd, jumping ahead to the 90s, 1994's Weezer's Blue Album. People might say it's a pop rock record, alternative rock, whatever.
It's got literally has a song called "In the Garage,"
and if you listen to this album, it sounds like 4 dudes playing in a garage on their own home recording system. My 4th is from 2006. It's the first album by Arctic Monkeys. It's called "Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not." It sounds like a dirtier, scuzzier, modern Beatles style of like their Help type of music.
Great British accents.
Great British accents. And my 5th is from 2016. It's by an Austin, Texas-based band called White Denim. It's an album called Stiff.
Oh, you like White Denim?
I love White Denim.
I know you like White Denim.
Yeah, and this is like kind of, it's southern psyche, kind of jam band-ish, dipping a toe into that, but it's garage rock. You listen to this shit and it's like, yep, it sounds like garage rock. So that's my 5. How about you guys?
You want to go, Michael?
Oh, you can go ahead. You go ahead.
I'm going to shout out. I got some visual things here. I got The Shadows of the Night, Gloria. Great record. The original Gloria is done by Van Morrison's Them. This is a great garage rock band out of Chicago. They do all the hits, Got My Mojo Working, all that great stuff. Bluesy, angry, punky, wonderful, moody, mid-60s. Check it out. I'm going to hit you with the Pebbles compilation released in the early 70s. This has all great, obscure garage rock hits. If you've heard of the Nuggets compilation, this is the dirty cousin to the Nuggets compilation. Every song in here is dirty, where Nuggets usually has like a hit song. These are all like obscure songs, all mid-60s garage punk bands.
I thought that was a picture of me.
Oh, right? Could be. And there's a great Shadows of the Night ad on here of them eating potato chips. That's like really
delicious.
rare. Wonderful.
We're a big former potato chip
Not for
supporting-
long.
Former
Former.
potato chip
Not for
supporting
Mike,
podcast.
you want to grab me that yellow book?
This one here?
Yeah, man. Lester Bangs
Hey, man.
wrote a book called Psychotic Reactions and Carburetor Dung, and he wrote a wonderful piece about this garage rock classic right here, the Count Five's Psychotic Reaction. Psychotic Reaction is one of the best garage punk songs of all time. Numerous other garage bands covered Psychotic Reaction. That's how legendary it kind of was. And in the later 70s, Lester Bangs, the great rock critic, wrote a piece about how this was such a seminal rock record. So the Count Five's Psychotic Reaction. What else do I got? I have a modern
Mike,
garage
it's
rock
you.
record. We have Ty Segall's Melted, one of his
Oh, yeah.
earlier releases.
Uncanny.
I believe this came out in 2010, and it is just a modern garage rock classic. It is fuzzy. It's one of his fuzziest. I'd say if you're talking garage rock and Ty Segall, this is probably his most acclaimed.
No, you know who that is? That's the decomposing corpse of Jerry Garcia.
Oh,
Yes.
thanks, Jerry.
I would be remiss if I did not bring up this Boston group, I'm gonna claim this one. The Standells in their hit "Dirty Water." If you are a Boston Red Sox fan, you know this song, but this is a garage rock classic and a great record. A garage rock band out of Boston. I don't know how many I've done. Do you want me to do more?
Oh, I think that was 5, but you can keep them coming if
I
you
got
want.
another modern one before we leave here.
I like
This
that
is
one.
the OC's Floating Coffin, and this for me is such a garage rock modern day classic. This is probably their most well recognized album. Toe Cutter Thumbsucker or whatever that song is on here. Also, I Came from the Mountain is on this record.
Oh,
Two of the
killer
biggest
song.
OC
Killer
songs right on there. So
Yeah.
everybody knows that. I would highly recommend this if you are a fan of modern garage or modern rock records and you haven't heard this record. This is a great fucking record.
Right on. Yeah. So for mine, in no particular order, I'm gonna go with. I mean, in the spirit of Jack White, the White Stripes, Distill. Distill.
Still?
That record for me, that was like one of the first White Stripes records that I ever purchased, and incredible album. Definitely give it a listen. It's that stripped down, bare bones, killer, Meg White, super sparse, drums and all that. I'm gonna then go with the A to the B. The Black Keys with Thick Freakness. I love that record. Another one that's like super stripped down, super more modern garage rocky. Next, I'm going to go with the Kingsmen in Person. You might know them from their hit Louie Louie.
Phenomenal garage
Louie
rock
Louie.
record.
That
Phenomenal.
one, it's hard to find. You can't really find it on any streaming services, but their best of is on, I know it's on Spotify, features a handful of tracks that were also on that first Kingsman record.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
The song Louie Louie, the drummer messes up and comes back in and yells fuck in the middle of it, and it gets played all the time on the radio. You can clearly hear it.
And that song, too, is the only song that actually features, what's his name, on vocals. That's the only song.
Yeah, that the singer was on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that the singer was on. I'm going to go also with, hold on, let me just pull my list up here. Bring it more modern. I'm going to go with King Tuff's Black Moon Spell that was released in 2014. His first album might arguably be like the more garage rock classic of the two. This one's a little bit more, 70s Black Sabbath-y leaning maybe tendencies. But Black Moon Spell was my introduction to King Tuff, and just a great killer fuzzed out record that definitely sounds like it could have been recorded in a garage.
The title track on that
Let's be
record
real.
is so good.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. And then I also had the Stooges Funhouse up. I know you did the first Stooges record, but I'll go Funhouse because
Recorded live.
Because I love that record. Funhouse is probably my favorite Stooges record,
It's probably one of my favorite records.
like maybe of all time. Shout out to Detroit,
TVI, 1970.
And then just a quick shout out to a band called The Flies. They were also known as the Fabulous Flies. They were considered like Australia's Beatles. It's kind of a pain in the ass to find their music. I don't have a specific album because I think they were just like a singles group and then like they eventually broke up. But they do a killer version of I'm Not Your Stepping Stone. That's really cool. And then another song called Tell Her That, which is another great sort of classic kind of like garage rocky tune.
And that's FLYS.
No, FLIES. There is a band called The Flies, FLYS, yes. But this one is
I
called
thought they were Y.
No, they're FLIES, yeah. But check them out. Shout out to Father Themi Adams, who became a Greek Orthodox priest after, and he's doing a lot of great work in Sierra Leone. So, hats off to him. But yes, he was the bass player in this band, and that's how I found out about them. Just a killer band, like I said, just singles. But shout out to a cool sort of Australian Beatles garage rock influenced band. So there you go.
Love it.
Love it. So there you have it. Let us know what you think. If you can think of any other classic garage rock bands, albums that you would recommend, please throw them in the comments and let us know.
What Jack White album is better? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, let us know. Please let us know which Jack White album you think is better. Before we go, remember once again, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Rate on iTunes and share with all your friends and spread the good word of the garage. And until next time, I have been Mike.
I've been Luke.
I've been Jeff.
Have a good week at school, everybody. We'll see you next time.
This has been a presentation from the Wasted Robot Network. For more information and links to other shows, please visit www.wastedrobotrecords.com/podcasts.